Steph has talked about kind of taking some pressure off you with Youre kind of running point in some actions and playing off the ball. Just how do you think that will help when you reintegrate onto?
Yeah, I mean, it'll be nice probably not to have to bring the ball up against pressure 94 feet. But like I said, like, that's what I'm best at. So we're still going to do a lot of that.
But the first real-world casualty of this locker room tension wasn't just Caitlin Clark's shot attempts. It was a veteran player who was supposed to bring order to the chaos. When the Fever signed Dana Bonner in the offseason, she was seen as the adult in the room, the championship-caliber leader brought in to help guide a young core, including Clark, through the ups and downs of a rebuilding season. But instead of anchoring the locker room, Bonner mysteriously exited the team after just 9 games. No press conference, no injury update, no formal goodbye, just gone. And when a respected vet walks away that abruptly, it's rarely about minutes or stats. It's about what's happening behind closed doors. Some insiders believe Bonner saw the writing on the wall, a locker room divided, a coaching staff losing control, and a young superstar being subtly iced out by teammates who weren't ready to give up control. Her departure wasn't just a personnel move. It was a warning sign. And for Caitlin Clark, it meant one less potential ally in a locker room growing colder by the day. Possession after possession, the pattern became impossible to ignore. Clark would swing the ball, relocate for an open shot, textbook basketball. But instead of the pass coming back, her teammate would put their head down, drive recklessly into a wall of defenders, and force up a contested layup or turn it over. And it wasn't just a one-off mistake. It wasn't just early season chemistry issues, it kept happening. Over and over, and every time it did, fans watching at home, analysts on social media, and even former players started asking the same chilling question: is this intentional? Because basketball isn't just about who scores, it's about who trusts who. It's about rhythm, spacing, feel, things that should come naturally when a team is unified. But when you break down the film, the pattern paints a far more sinister picture. Clark isn't just being overlooked. She's being frozen out, passed up when she's wide open, cut out of the offense on plays where she initiates. It's subtle but surgical, the kind of thing you only see when there's something deeper going on behind the scenes. This isn't about basketball IQ. This is about locker room politics being played out in real time, on national television. And Clark? She's stuck in the middle of it, watching trust disappear every time the ball doesn't come back her way. For weeks, Caitlin Clark said nothing. No passive-aggressive quotes, no cryptic Instagram stories, no leaks to the media. She just showed up every night and carried the weight in silence. She played through contact. She absorbed the boos on the road and the side eyes in her own locker room. And despite it all, she kept doing what great point guards do. She tried to make everyone else better. She led the team in assists. She ran the offense with patience. She deferred when she should have demanded. She passed to players who wouldn't return the favor. She tried to be the bridge, the connector, even as some teammates kept pulling away. Statistically, she ranked top 10 in the entire WNBA in total assists. Number 1 among rookies. But dig a little deeper, and the numbers tell a different story. Her usage rate sat at just 17.3%, shockingly low for a player of her caliber, especially someone expected to be the face of the franchise. For context, that's below what most star guards touch the ball, and far below what someone with her vision, gravity, and range should be commanding. The message was subtle, but clear. She was being pushed to the edges of her own team's offense, and yet, she never stopped trying to play the right way, even when no one played it right with her. Let's be clear, this isn't some case of a rookie ball hog demanding the spotlight. It's the complete opposite. Caitlin Clark wasn't trying to take over. She was holding back, overcorrecting, walking on eggshells in a locker room filled with veterans who, for whatever reason, didn't want to make space for her. She passed up shots she would have taken in college. She deferred in moments when she was the most talented option on the floor. And she did it not because she lacked confidence, but because she was trying to fit in, to earn her place, to avoid stepping on the wrong toes in a room where egos were already bruised just by her presence. But the question remains, why were her teammates so cold? Was it simple jealousy? Was it fear that the league was passing them by? That this 22-year-old phenom had become the new face of the WNBA overnight? Or was it something deeper? Something more personal? A sense of resentment that no matter how long they'd been grinding in this league, it was Clark who got the cameras, the contracts, the fans. It wasn't just about basketball. It was about status, legacy, and the uncomfortable truth that Caitlin Clark represented a future some weren't ready for. According to WNBA insiders, what's brewing inside the Fever locker room isn't just discomfort. It's a toxic cocktail of resentment, ego, and long simmering frustration. At the heart of it, Caitlin Clark's meteoric rise. While some players spent nearly a decade grinding in obscurity, bouncing from team to team, playing overseas in the offseason just to make ends meet, Clark entered the league with more fame, endorsements, and camera flashes than some veterans had seen in their entire careers. And that disparity created real tension. Some players reportedly bristled at the way media attention centered entirely on Clark, how her jersey sold out while theirs collected dust. Others took issue with her massive NIL earnings and corporate deals, wondering how a rookie could rake in more off the court than most players earn on it. And then there were the whispers, the old-school gatekeeping mentality, that Clark hadn't earned her stripes, that she needed to be humbled before she could lead. One league scout put it bluntly, "Some of these players have been grinding for 8 to 10 years, and suddenly here comes Caitlin, and she's the face of the league? It doesn't sit right with everyone." But this isn't just petty jealousy. It's sabotage, the kind that poisons chemistry, costs teams wins, and derails careers. Not just Caitlin's, but the very teammates trying to freeze her out. Because when ego gets louder than trust, no team survives. Now imagine you're Caitlin Clark. You're 22 years old. You've spent your entire life preparing for this moment. Not just dreaming about being in the pros, but working for it. The early mornings, the endless film sessions, the pressure of carrying a college program on your back. You enter the league not just as a rookie, but as a once-in-a-generation talent. Someone expected to lift an entire franchise, maybe even an entire league. But instead of being welcomed, you walk into a room that's colder than any opponent you've ever faced. You hear the side conversation stop when you walk in. You feel the tension in the air during film sessions. You see the body language, the rolled eyes, the dismissive glances, the passive-aggressive silence after another national headline with your name in it. And you realize some of these women, your own teammates, would rather lose than see you become the hero. They're not trying to build with you. They're trying to survive around you. And still, she doesn't fold. She keeps her head down, keeps playing, keeps trusting teammates who don't always trust her back. Because that's who Caitlin Clark is. A competitor, a leader, and maybe most importantly, someone who refuses to let bitterness break her. July 18th. A routine post-practice press conference. Or at least, that's how it started. The room was tense, the questions sharper than usual. And then, it came. Reporters finally asked Caitlin Clark the question everyone had been dancing around for weeks, about the locker room tension, the whispers, the reports that she was being iced out by her own teammates. She didn't flinch. She didn't get defensive. She simply said, "There's always going to be noise. I can't control that. I'm just focused on helping us win. And I'll let my game speak for itself." Polished. Poised. Exactly what you'd expect from a professional athlete trained to deflect controversy. But then came the moment that stopped everyone cold. She paused, took a breath, and added, "Yeah, it's been challenging at times. I'll leave it at that." And in that one sentence, in that quiet, deliberate pause between words, everything changed. You could hear the weight behind it, the exhaustion, the restraint. That wasn't a throwaway line. That was a young woman, 22 years old, shouldering the emotional burden of a fractured team, the spotlight of a billion-dollar league, and the expectations of millions of young girls who see her as more than an athlete. And in that moment, Caitlin Clark made a choice. Not to lash out, not to air dirty laundry, but to rise above it, to choose grace over gossip, to let her silence say what her words couldn't. Then, almost overnight, the Indiana Fever made a move that signaled everything was about to change. Head coach Christy Sides? Gone. Quietly dismissed, without fanfare, after weeks of mounting dysfunction and visible on-court chaos. In her place, Stephanie White, a former WNBA Coach of the Year, known around the league not just for her X's and O's, but for her no-nonsense leadership and ability to command a fractured locker room. A tactician, a culture fixer, and almost immediately, the ripple effects were undeniable. Rotations shifted, minutes tightened. Veterans who had been treating the offense like their personal playground were suddenly riding the bench. And the system? It started flowing through Caitlin Clark. She wasn't just getting touches. She was being trusted, empowered, built around. The message from White was crystal clear. We go as Caitlin goes. Period. That's not pressure. That's reality. And it didn't stop there. Even former NBA players watching from a distance began speaking out. One veteran said it best. That locker room better wake up. You don't freeze out a talent like that, you build a dynasty around her. For the first time all season, the team wasn't just reacting to Clark's presence. They were finally starting to lean into it. And the results? They spoke for themselves. And how did Caitlin Clark respond? Not with drama, not with tweets, not with finger-pointing. She responded the only way champions do, with basketball brilliance. Night after night, she's proving that no amount of jealousy, cold shoulders, or silent sabotage can dim her light. True stars don't chase approval. They make the game bend around them. This isn't just a rookie season. It's a case study in resilience, in grace under pressure, in what it looks like when someone changes the league faster than the league can adapt. Caitlin didn't come here to fit in. She came to raise the standard. And if certain teammates can't handle that heat, they won't be part of what comes next. They'll be watching from the bench. So what do you think? Was this just growing pains? Or was Clark truly being frozen out? Let us know in the comments. Hit like if you're with Caitlin. And subscribe to Narrative Analysts, where we go beyond the box score to expose the truth behind the game. I'm Jax. Stay sharp. Stay curious. We'll see you next story.